So the density Aegis, we've been talking about convergence as a trend for quite a while, and obviously the television and video space is a perfect example of the convergence trend. We're seeing people taking their broadcast content and consuming it across other devices. We're also seeing huge trends about content creation explicitly for video platforms, and the Netflix model and some of their commissions being the very obvious things. So what that's prompting us to do is try and approach screen planning and make sure that we have an empirical approach to balancing the investment across the different screens. So within our CCS platform, we have a tool called CCS Planner that allows us to look at the different awareness and reach profiles by audience segment, so that we can balance whether or not it's 10% into video and 90% into traditional TV, or 30% to 70%. And so that's an important way that we're trying to bring a methodology to help our teams in local markets understand for their individual client requirement how to balance the channels. Now, obviously there are different types of online video, and I think that's one of the very interesting areas of evolution at the moment. We obviously have companies like we're sitting here with Videology that are aggregating video supply and making it available to the buyers. Then you obviously have Facebook that's bringing video formats very much to the fore, and particularly across mobile devices. I think that's a very interesting innovation on the supply side that launched in the US and is coming to other markets at the moment, which will, again, hopefully bring a lot more inventory that our clients can utilize to build that coverage across devices. And Google have some interesting innovations we're talking with them about to try and segment the YouTube estate and allow us to really be a lot more selective in how we're approaching that huge pool of content and audience. Well, again, I think it's important to segment content and distribution. And I think content is manifesting in many ways. Obviously, many brands are generating content, and it can be very high production value, it can be more agile content that's created at lower cost, at high speed. Again, the work that we did with Adidas around the World Cup was a perfect example of creating a very large bank of content, either ahead of the World Cup, which is a lot of what of the work was done, or in real time taking moments from the World Cup, be it a great goal, be it a surprising scoreline, be it an injury, sending off, and immediately using that content in real time to show the association between Adidas and the event. Now, not all brands have that ability to take content and associate with it in a relevant and credible fashion. Adidas obviously have a great opportunity to do that. One of our other clients, MasterCard, is again creating a lot of content around priceless moments, and that's an interesting campaign. But for other advertisers, I think companies such as Maker Studio are interesting because they have a huge portfolio of content originators that are bubbling up through the YouTube ecosystem, but that can then be worked with in a way that allows the content to have the freshness of generated content, but without some of the risks of distributing without that framework. And many of our advertisers really have to be careful about where they're distributing content, what content they're associating with, because you've got to ensure it aligns with the expectations of consumers around the way brands are in a safe environment. So there's the content side, then there's the distribution side. We've talked about Facebook and we've talked about Google already. I think some of the innovations in formats, some of the formats that are being created outside of streamed context, and again, I think that's a very interesting way of activating video in content that typically hasn't allowed streamed video. So a lot of the newspapers and classical digital versions of the classical publishers are creating a lot more inventory out of outstream formats, some called in-read formats, and I think that's an interesting innovation as well. All of which is meaning that the pricing of video historically had issues because of the scarcity. it meant that comparison between broadcast video and digital video often made it difficult to justify a scale investment into digital video unless it was in formats that were more social or distributed across gaming type environments or generic aggregated distribution. So I think the premium end of the market is really moving now in a way that is allowing us to have much more flexible video campaigns outside of TV environments, and that means we have the flexibility of targeting segments, targeting environments, and delivering a pacing of campaign that allows us to look at delivery across a period of time, recency, managing frequency across a burst period, rather than having to take the inventory where it's available. So I think the scaling of the opportunity is really exciting for us.